Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. All right, so let's talk about the issue of Russia versus the United States, which is going on right now. Anthony Blinken the other day said after Russia had sent security forces into Kazakhstan, which I spoke about in one of my last videos, Anthony Blinken said something along the lines of, once you get Russians in your house, it's impossible to get them to leave, or something like that. And so today, Vladimir Putin announced that Russian forces, security forces, were leaving Kazakhstan. Order was restored. No regime change. And he said something along the lines of, we've done our job. It's time to come home. So U.S. security, Russian security forces, along with other countries that went to help restore order, restored order, and have left the country. That's a week or less that they were in that country. Let's compare that to the United States with Afghanistan. We months ago, left Afghanistan after 20 years of destroying the country. In addition, our influence has not ended. The U.S. government has seized 10 or 11 billion dollars worth of assets, which Afghanistan needs to purchase food for their people. Pardon me. So it is projected that millions of Afghans are going to die this winter because of the sanctions, the trade barriers, and the seizure of assets from the United States. So let's talk about Syria. The United States still illegally has U.S. forces in Syria that have been there for 7 years, 8 years, something like that. And our presence there has been illegal under international law since day one. Let's talk about Iraq, where we have been there since 2003. And 2 years ago, the Iraqi parliament voted unanimously that they wanted U.S. forces to leave, which makes our presence in Iraq illegal. Let's talk about Palestine and the genocide that the U.S. is enabling, funding, arming the Israeli military to conduct genocide against the Palestinians. Let's talk about Cuba and the trade embargo on Cuba, which causes Cubans to suffer. Let's talk about Venezuela and the sanctions which cause Venezuela to suffer. Happily, Venezuela is expanding their agricultural output, so they are slowly overcoming the U.S. sanctions. And they're doing trade with Russia and China, which also helps with that. Every country that is coming under U.S. sanction and is suffering because of it is getting assistance from Russia and China. And how much military involvement is there? How much military occupation is there from Russia and China? None. None at all. Zero. None. The only place that Russia has military forces is outside of their own country, is in Syria, where they were asked by the Syrian government to assist them in fighting ISIS, which the U.S. armed, funded, trained, incited. We created ISIS. Let's talk about Hawaii, where many of the natives of Hawaii still feel that they are under U.S. military occupation. And this has been over 100 years. The U.S. Navy has tried to cover up a fuel leak, which is poisoning the water supply in one area of Hawaii, and doing absolutely nothing about it except still trying to cover it up, lie about it, and not do anything about it. So, in fact, I think they're still storing fuel in the leaking underground tanks in Hawaii. Yeah, you think that Hawaii wouldn't like for them to leave? Yeah, they would love for them to leave. So, in the last few days, the Russian foreign minister has met with the United States and with members of NATO. They have issued a list of non-negotiable, very realistic demands that former Soviet states, Ukraine and Georgia, not be allowed to join NATO. That the United States not place nuclear weapons in these former Soviet states right on Russia's doorstep, which would have a 5 to 7 minute flight time to Moscow. These are very realistic demands, and they have been refused by the U.S. and NATO. And Putin has made it clear that if these actions do occur, that it will be met with a military response from Russia. And Putin does not make such threats lightly. And if he makes such a statement, you can take it very seriously. The United States keeps on and on with this claim that Russia is going to invade Ukraine. Putin has made it very clear. Everyone in the Russian administration has made it very clear that they have no plan or intent to invade Ukraine. Yes, they have got troops that are amassed at the inside Russia, within their own territory, which is not illegal. Look at the amount of military bases along the southern United States, along our borders. Should Mexico say, you are intending to invade Mexico? No. Now, Russia may very well send their forces into the Donbass region, which is petitioning for independence from Ukraine. If Ukraine invades the Donbass region, that is where, but that would not be an invasion of Ukraine. This is a separatist region. They don't want to be part of Ukraine. If anything, they would prefer to rejoin Russia. That is what the people of that region have stated, and they have been under attack by the Ukraine government for 7 years now, since 2014. These people are suffering. They are fighting for their lives. Are we, the U.S. is pushing for regime change in Kazakhstan, which did not happen. They are supporting, the U.S. government is supporting. You talk about democracy, and yet the people of the Donbass wish to withdraw from, declare independence from Ukraine. And who does the U.S. government support? The Ukraine neo-Nazi, literal neo-Nazi government. I've heard people that criticize the UN for not having any teeth. Well, this is the design of the UN. It is a diplomatic organization. And so it is not designed to have that much force. However, if you gave them that kind of power, the same people that are claiming this are ones that probably supported George W. Bush when he said that we should withdraw from the UN. If you gave the UN the power to act, then the same people would claim that this is a one world government, the new world order, and all this kind of thing. This is what they would be screaming about. So they criticize the UN on one hand, and then they would oppose giving the UN more power to act. Now, where I feel would be actionable would be that the UN Security Council should not exist. Any military action before it happens should be placed in front of the UN General Assembly. And if a country such as the United States acts unilaterally or in coalition with other countries, if they violate the determination of the United Nations, if the United Nations votes no, you cannot do this, and the U.S. or its allies violate that determination, then the UN should be able to act with such actions as economic sanctions, complete trade embargo from all UN members against these countries that violate the determination of the UN. That would not be a one world government. That would be a peacekeeping organization acting on keeping peace, on enforcing diplomacy. That would be realistic. The UN Security Council, again, should not exist at all. The U.S. should not have that much power. The entire UN should be one country, one vote. That would be diplomatic. But the U.S. opposes any such thought. Anyway, Russia and China and all of these countries that the United States is claiming are a threat are not posing a threat. The threat is the United States and the UK, especially NATO. These are the threats. These are the threats. There is nothing wrong with having a military force that defends your own country, but no country should have the right to dictate to other nations who their government is, how their government works. No country should be able to invade, occupy, starve the citizens of other nations. This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. And we are paying for it. Look at the U.S. so-called defense budget. No other nation, no combination of other nations spends as much as we do. As I've said before, if you combine all the forces, CIA, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, VA, etc., if you combine those forces with the Pentagon budget, the United States spends more on so-called defense than every other nation on earth combined. And look at what our real economy is doing. Look at how you are paying for this. Look at our national debt. All right, share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel. I'll catch you in the next one.